Hare Krishna. Let's start. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshakarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vindati Jai Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I also can't see my video. Hare Krishna. So let's begin. We have today we are going to start lesson 3. Do you have questions? Yesterday we were discussing, we were in the middle of some discussion. Maybe Abhishek Bansal Prabhu has got the notes. You can share so that everybody can join in. So today I would like, instead of writing, maybe you can speak, because I am feeling that maybe if you speak then you will have more, I will be able to understand better. So Abhishek Bansal Prabhu, please share the notes. I will just revise what we discussed yesterday. So the question was, if somebody says, how do you know whether it is evolution or is it Krishna? So somebody said, yes, evolution is true, and evolution is also made by God, and we don't need, some said, okay, we don't need God, but the evolution is itself sufficient to keep this universe running. So I countered this with an understanding that evolution will, for example, if you say natural laws, simple laws like laws of motion, laws of chemical reactions, some biological reactions, these laws can tell you the possibilities, but it won't tell you the final objective function. Like we discussed in the case of machine learning, as somebody pointed out, the network or the model converges to a particular solution because there is some objective or some objective function which is giving shape to which is a stable state, which is not a stable state. Basically, which is a desirable solution, which is not a desirable solution. But for nature, natural laws do not have that desirable or undesirable state, right? So the machine learning model is stable because there is an objective function which is designed by somebody. So but in this world, why is there stability or equilibrium when there is what is that information? Where is that information coming from? And I asked the question that why. So some people asked, why do you think this world is stable, or there is stability here or equilibrium here? Why is there equilibrium? I gave some examples. Okay, see your own life. You are maintained by so many factors which are maintained in a very delicate equilibrium. Let's say the fire, the air you breathe, the water you drink, everything is in very fine equilibrium. The temperature on the earth, the humidity, the pressure, everything is in very fine equilibrium. And if this equilibrium is disturbed, I will not survive. And Archit Gupta is saying, sometimes objective needs not to be defined. It's possible to reach a stable situation depending on initial conditions. Okay, yes, you can do that. For example, you have a pendulum and it reaches a finite, it reaches a well-defined stable situation. But then the structure of the pendulum was designed, right? The structure of the pendulum is designed by somebody, because of which it reaches a stable situation. So if I change the length of the string, a different equilibrium will be reached. If I change the mass of the object, a different equilibrium will be reached, right? And that equilibrium is defined by, let's say, laws of F equal to ma. So the force here is the gravity and the tension in the string, and you know that from that you can derive the time period. So this law of gravity, F equal to ma, the second law of Newton, is only describing the motion. It is not describing how those ingredients were formed or how that structure was formed. Both these things are not described by that. Some human being designed that structure, right? And a string and a mass, and it is tied, and that is a pendulum, and that will measure time. This was designed by a human. The purpose was also defined by the human, that this is to measure time. And the structure was given by human. The ingredients was given by nature. The string comes from, let's say, some cotton which is grown in the nature. Then the mass comes from iron, which comes from nature, from the iron ore. All the ingredients are supplied by nature. Structure is given by humans. The purpose is defined by humans. The only thing is this thing. Natural laws are governing this motion, but everything else humans are doing. Right, Archit Prabhu, does that answer your question? So, but if you just leave strings and some mass and some support and randomly leave it, or maybe other ingredients as well, you won't see a pendulum existing there which somebody is using for measuring time. Right? It is possible randomly some pendulum is formed, randomly some other structure is formed, but all those structures are equally meaningless. But it is humans only, they associate a special value to that structure compared to any other structure. Humans say, no, I need to keep a pendulum, or I need to keep the clock running. If the clock is not running, he will put a new battery, he will put new supply of power so that the clock is running again. And he will take it to the mechanic, who will again make the nuts and gears properly aligned so that it keeps proper time, right? So the humans, they give preference to that particular state of pendulum or clock. But otherwise, what is the problem? Any state is fine, right? Is information stored in genes as said by modern scientists? Yes, why not? Anything can store information. Anything can store information. Genes can store information. But the question that should be asked is, why is this stable system there? The system of information transfer through genes, through cell division, and all those complicated phenomena. That stable system is there. Why is it there? Physics cannot explain that. F equal to ma won't explain why that system is stable, why that structure is stable, or why that whole phenomenon is stable. Right? The same gene information transfer which is happening in you, is happening in me, is happening in our ancestors, and has been happening for so long. Why is this stable system existing? Can any theory explain that? So the only theory which explains it is very simple. It's that Krishna is the designer, Krishna is the maintainer, and it has a purpose, and that purpose also is given by Krishna. The purpose has been given by Krishna. Krishna has given us this human form of life or any other form of life so that we evolve in our consciousness and we attain our natural state, our Swarupa, which is that we are servants of Krishna, and we again get back to our life with Krishna, where we are enjoying life with Krishna, not away from Krishna. Right? So the ingredients are given by Krishna, structure is given by Krishna, the purpose is given by Krishna, and then what are we doing? We just make a slight choice whether I want to do, whether I want Krishna or no Krishna. As soon as I say no Krishna, I am in a different kind of evolution of nature. And as soon as I say I want Krishna, I am in a different kind of evolution because of Krishna's internal nature, internal potency. I have freedom, yes, but the structure, everything is designed by Krishna, maintained by Krishna. This is what Bhagavad Gita says. And so we have many contending understandings, and you see which understanding makes sense to you. And because we are doing Bhagavad Gita course, so I would say I would like to emphasize Bhagavad Gita understanding is so fine, so perfect. And if you have any questions, then you can ask. Let me read the comments which you have posted earlier. Yes, Abhishek Bansal is saying it is very difficult to obtain such perfect order and design just by evolution. For example, for constitution we need regular amendments, but nature has been just perfect. Okay, some note of caution here. When we say amendments, there can be amendments in our structure. For example, let's say if I live in a tropical climate like in India, I will be adapted to this climate and I will have very different kind of bodily response to different things. And if somebody lives in cold areas like away from the tropical region, means more towards the poles, colder regions, his body will be acclimated or accustomed to different kinds of climate, which means, let's say if a person who lives in cold regions, let's say UK or Europe, they come to India, sometimes they develop sunburns because they are not used to so much of sun. And sometimes people who live in India, when they go to UK, they may feel very cold there. They may feel unsuitable, means different kinds of changes. That kind of adjustment is fine, that is governed by nature. But what we are talking about is the structure itself is designed by Krishna. Okay, now an interesting question. Humans are able to produce new species by hybridization and elimination, for example, dodo, quagga, etc. This seems to support survival of the fittest. Yes, why not? But who decides the fittest function, or the what is it called in the fitness function? Who decides the fitness function? Why do you say this state is stable, this state is not stable? Right? This whole structure of stability, means this whole structure in which something is stable, something is not stable, that is designed by somebody, right? When you say, okay, I will give you further example, further elaboration. Let's say there is one species and the climate changes. Now this species will change its characteristics. Let's say, I don't know about dodo and quagga. Maybe, let's say there is a species and suddenly you see climate has changed. Let us say I am there. I live in Himalayas. Climate is very different, and I'm not used to very hot sun. I may get sunburn. When I move to a tropical region, in the beginning few years I will get sunburns, but eventually I become used to that climate and I don't get any more sunburns, right? So I have so survival of the fittest. I have to survive, I improve myself. But then the question is, Why don't I evolve to some other state? The most obvious of which is a dead state. If you do an analysis of all the processes happening inside me, if you do a probabilistic analysis, how many states are possible? Living state is just very small, means very small number of possibilities will be a living state. Majority of possibilities will be dead state. Like if somebody chokes one of the artery in your heart, dead state. One makes a small hole in the heart, dead state. One makes a small blood vessel in the brain, it bursts, dead state. There are potentially infinite number of possibilities to make a dead state. And living state, so rare. So as per statistical mechanics, statistically seeing, the living state is so less probable, but still it is stable. And you are rather not just stable, but very robust. It is, as you say, survival of the fittest. It is still evolving to this living state, not evolving to dead state. So please think about it. Please think about it. Why should that happen? On the other hand, I will give you now a stronger argument. On the other hand, you see, when a person dies, immediately the whole body will degrade in whatever random state possible. This living state where the blood is being pumped by the heart, all the arteries and vessels, they are carrying the blood without bursting, without blocking. They are working so perfectly. As soon as I am dead, immediately everything starts moving in haphazard way. Arteries will be blocked, veins will be in some other direction, holes because small insects or bacteria, they will start decomposing the body, holes will be formed, degradation everywhere. Everything is just everywhere. But that is not happening now. Why? What is the difference? So what is driving you to that stable equilibrium? But as soon as you are dead, that equilibrium is no longer stable. Something else becomes stable. Can you see the depth of this understanding? Can you see the depth of this argument? This is so deep. So what Darwin is doing, essentially, I call it as hand waving. Survival of the fittest. But yes, who defines the fitness function? Why this state is fit function? This is the fit state, but a dead state is not a fit state. Or any other combination, like out of potentially infinite number of possibilities, those states are not fit, but this state is fit. Why? So when they say natural selection, so what is that selection? What is the fitness function based on which nature selects? Darwin does not explain that. So this, what arguments I am giving you, they all come from information theory. They don't come from biology. For biology, you have to ask Chahat Prabhu. He can give better understanding. But my understanding comes from information theory. That why this information is like that. Okay, please ask more questions. I think, Archit Prabhu, if you have further doubts on your question, you can ask more clarification. The dead version didn't survive and the fitter variation survived. Hence, we are able to sustain. Very good argument. The dead version did not survive and the fitter variation survived. Hence, we are able to sustain. Okay. I wish if it were that simple. It is not that simple. Even in the same body, let's understanding a hypothetical case. Okay, first of all, let me clarify one thing. One thing I should clarify. When you are saying this survived, that survived, there is no historical, not much historical evidence for this. Whatever historical evidence is there, what they claim is very, very questionable. Those who are working in archaeology, who are working in anthropology, they can give you different accounts, and they will say this kind of history which Darwin created, this historical version that okay, there were some species and then the evolution. So the historically there is very little evidence, very less corroboration. Of course, there is corroboration for evolution in the sense that things, they adapt with the climate, they adapt with the nature, but the kind of evolution which you are mentioning is not there. But anyways, even if we accept that for the time being, you're saying there are several mutations going on and the fittest mutation survives. So again, who is defining the fit function, the fittest function? The earlier argument was little better. You said that the fitter variation means basically you say that whichever is sustainable, it survives. Whichever is sustainable, it sustains and then it progresses further. But let's say if you see who gives robustness to this fit function, right? Because at the very next moment, I can die. Means that, let us say, okay, let me put it in this way. Let's define a state space. A state space is where all the possible combinations are there. So a very small portion is the living state, and everything else is the dead state. Now the peculiarity of the whole situation is, in this living state, we are there in a very robust way, right? But as soon as I leave this state once, I can never come back here. I left it, and now everything degraded, and then I don't come back here, right? After death, you don't come back to life. Means a dead thing, it doesn't come back to the living state again. It is just lost in so huge state space. But as soon as you are here, you are very stable here. That is the point which I want to hit. Why this living state, which is very unstable, which should be very unstable, very improbable, why is it so stable? And if you say it is just over time the fittest things survive, but I'm saying, who defines the fitness? Okay, now let me give you a better argument for this. You said the dead version didn't survive. I question this statement. Why do you say it is not surviving? It is also existing. Dead version is also existing. Dead version is also existing. Why is it not existing? A dead body is also existing. It is also producing byproducts like my body is degrading, it is producing carbon dioxide, water, and it is reproducing. Why do you reproducing means what? It is producing something. It is producing water, carbon dioxide, other gases, and other ingredients which go to the soil. It is producing something. It is producing. You are calling this living state is something special, and reproducing means reproducing another living state, right? So, but I'm saying, why do you call this as reproduction? This going to this also is reproduction. This going to this is also reproduction. This going to this is also reproduction. Dead state is also reproducing itself. Means if you call that as, you have defined a term called reproduction, where you are giving priority to this state. But you are coming back to the same point, that why this state is so special that you only call this state as reproduction, and this state is not reproduction. Why not? I say when H2 and O2 combine, it produces water. It is also reproduction. Why don't you call that as reproduction? Why only living state is called reproduction? So this is all jugglery going on, and please try to be careful of this jugglery. The actual thing is that this state is a fit state, and that fitness function nobody explains why this is fit. Okay, Char Prabhu is saying, they may say the fitness function is the maintenance or propagation of that species. But I am questioning, why do you call this a species? This is also a species. This is also a species. This is also a species. Why do you call only this as a species? Am I making sense? Let us say you take a chamber, take many ingredients into it, and let the chamber evolve. Means shake it or whatever, pump energy into it, and let the channel evolve. Things will formulate different. Let's say some combination is formed, some other combination is formed. Let's say on a billiards table. Let us take a billiard or a carom board table. Carom board is more familiar in Indian context. A carom board table. Just shut it like a chamber and just keep shaking it. Sometimes you will see in the carom board, let's say four four pieces come together and they form a perfect square, right? And the very next moment they are again lost, and some other pieces come together, they form a triangle. Some other pieces come together, they form a pair. Some other pieces come together, they form something else. But now suddenly you start seeing in the carom board table, always four pieces come together, they make four this thing, and then it survives. And maybe when they strike some other four pieces, they break, or some other four pieces form this square, right? And now you call that as reproduction, and you say nature is helping this survive because this is a stable state and it survives. But you are never explaining why this is a stable state. Why this is a stable state? This is just another state. And you call this as reproduction, when one square gives rise to another square. But you are giving a special name and you say, you think you have understood the concept. No, you're not understood. You're just giving a jargon, another terminology. What is reproduction? Another terminology. What is species? Another terminology. What is maintenance? Another terminology. In the carom board table, everything is maintained. All the pieces are there. Similarly, here in this world, all the pieces are there. What are the pieces? Chemists will say these are carbon dioxide, hydrogen, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, all these things. They will call these are the pieces. They're there, always there. Why do you call this special combination as reproduction or species or maintenance? Why? Okay, I think now it's time for questions. Ask more questions now. Archit Prabhu, you have any question, or what is your understanding now? Shah Prabhu is saying reproduction is special because it maintains the information of how to build that body exactly the same way. Yes, reproduction is special, but still you are not answering why it is special. Oh, means you're just defining reproduction here. You're saying it maintains the information of how to build that body exactly the same way. This is the concept which you're calling reproduction. This is not the reason for reproduction. This is the concept which you have labeled as reproduction. The maintenance of information of how to build the same body exactly the same way. This is not the reason of reproduction. So take the analogy of this carom board again. You have four pieces which are forming a square, and you are seeing that when they collide with other four pieces, then again they form a square, and some other four pieces they collide, they again form a square. So you call this process as reproduction, but that does not explain why this is happening. Maybe there is some magnetic field which is keeping them together. Maybe there is some springs, or I don't know, maybe magnetic field or electric field which is keeping them together. They are charged and they become discharged, or some other reason. But instead of explaining that, you're just saying, oh, this is reproduction. You know, there is a square and then another square. I call this reproduction. And what is the reason? So you say, this is the reason. This is not the reason. This is just a phenomenon which you call as reproduction. Please tell if I am not, if this does not make sense. Please tell if this does not make sense. I mean, how is this living reproduction is different from any manipulation of dead matter? Yes. Yes, this is different. That is why we have named it as reproduction, a concept. So whenever we give a name to a concept, this means that that phenomenon is different from other phenomena. For example, I call day and night. Why? Because I can differentiate between the two. That is why I call them differently, day and night. But that is not the reason for day and night. The reason of day and night is something else. And that is the sun rising and setting. Just calling this concept as day and night does not explain. Yes, I agree that this process of reproduction means how the living bodies are creating other living bodies, or this state is creating other things in this state. That is fine. that, and this is discernible from other states, and that is what you call as reproduction, because this is discernible from other states. But that does not explain why this state is discernible from other states or why this state is special. Yes, we don't know the reason why reproduction should happen. Yes, exactly, this is my point. Why should reproduction happen at all? Why should the squares be formed in the carom board table? Darwin never answered this question. That is why he's called a cheater. And those who think that Darwin has explained everything, and I have seen, professors in Oxford University, they argued with me that we are existing because of evolution. And as soon as I told them this theory of information, that you see, you are educated people, not just educated, you are professors in Oxford University, the topmost university in the world. This year Oxford is at number 1. Topmost university, you are professors here. And when you make such kind of arguments, then it looks like you are cheating the whole world. The whole world is looking towards you for guidance, for knowledge. They see you as epitome of knowledge, and you are behaving like this. You are saying Darwin explains everything. This is like height of cheating. You should be honest and say Darwin explains this, but not everything. Okay, Darwin has formulated some nice theory about this, how evolution, and he has recognized the importance of evolution, the importance of natural selection, the importance of survival of fittest. He has recognized these concepts happening in the world, but he has not explained why these are happening. He has not given the science to explain that how this is happening. So science means when you say we are academicians, then academic life means honest life. Say I don't know this, say I know this. If you do anything else, that is called cheating, manipulation, plagiarism, whatever you want to call. And that is not acceptable in academic community. You cannot be a good academician if you are a cheater. Means you are not accepted as an academician if you are a cheater. Consciousness has not been explained. Darwin's theory has failed in several cases. Nothing is explained. Even you see reproduction, what you are calling here reproduction. Where is it explained? You call life. Where is it explained? You call as survival of the fittest. Where is the fitness function? You say natural selection. Where is that selection function? What is explained here? He has just recognized these concepts. He has just given terminology. He has just given names to these concepts, that these are existing in the nature. Like you see sun and day and night. You call day is the time when I can see things, when I experience visually things. And night is the time when I don't experience things visually. You can recognize these concepts, but that does not explain why is there day, why is there night. So please take this point very cautiously. I think a lot of cheating has been going on, and especially at the academic level. I think we need intelligent academicians who bring understanding from all different fields. Like I am trying to do it from information science, Chahatrabu can do it from biological sciences, and all of you can do from your respective fields. Everything is so clear, science is like sun, it is shining, but people, they are just covering it like this, and they are just out of arrogance or enviousness. Okay, Abhishek Bansal is asking very good question. He's asking, is there a necessity that everything should have a reason? Okay, so you are essentially asking, is there a necessity that everything should have a cause? Yes, finding out the cause is the task of intelligent people. Only intelligent people can see the cause. Foolish people, for foolish person, everything is just random. Randomness is just a measure of our foolishness, is a measure of how much we don't know. Knowledge means knowledge of what we know, what we don't know, what we can know, what we cannot know. This is knowledge. But if somebody says there is no reason for anything, this means he is not an intellectual. An intellectual always tries to find a cause. A reason is just an explanation, but cause means actually what is causing things to happen. So there is a difference between reason and cause. Reason is just the reasoning or the explanation of something. Cause is what is actually actuating it, actually causing it. So yes, everything has a cause, and an intelligent person tries to find out the cause. A foolish person will say, no, no, there is no cause, it is just random. Okay, there is a nice question from Akshat. He's saying, what is causing Krishna to be Krishna? Very good question. So by definition, okay, forget the name Krishna. Just for a moment. Don't forget Krishna, but just for a moment. Okay, keep aside this title, the name Krishna. So we are defining a concept. The concept is like this. That which has no cause, but it is the cause of everything. That concept, or that ultimate cause, is called Krishna. Means now I am defining the what is Krishna. So there is a concept, that which has no cause, but it is the cause of everything else. This concept is called Krishna. Now when you say what is causing Krishna to be Krishna, so that is by definition. By definition, Sarva Karana Karana, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sachidananda Vigraha, Anadir Adi Govinda Sarva Karana Karana. Anadi Adi, which means this is, so he has no cause, but he is the cause of everything. Okay. Is this point clear, Akshat Prabhu? That by definition, absolute truth is that which has no cause, but it is the cause of everything. And we call that absolute truth as Krishna. Satyam Param Dhimahi, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So Vasudevaya is that Satyam Param. Okay. Now Chahat Prabhu is saying, in survival of the fittest, the fitness function is reproduction. Oh. What is reproduction? Again, jargon. But yes, we don't know why reproduction should happen. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, reproduction is just a jargon. It's just a terminology. It's a name given to a phenomena which is happening. But just giving a name is not science. That is why Prabhupada, actually, I like that. Prabhupada says, this world is just a world of names. So that's what we are doing, just world of names. In the name of science, we are just creating a dictionary of jargons. Of course, this is also a very intelligent thing to do, but this is not complete. And why it is intelligent? Because we are recognizing these concepts are existing. That is why we are giving them names. This is certainly very intelligent, but this is not everything. This is not explaining the cause. So Abhishek Bansal is saying, but we can only find out the reason. How can we find the cause? So the difference between reason and cause is, cause means that which is causing something. Reason means an explanation. Reason means an explanation. It's a linguistic thing. Reasoning is the linguistic thing, but cause is the what do you say? The physical thing which is causing something. Reasoning is the linguistic concept. Is this clear? So for example, I may say, like in English, I may say, this person tried to reason with me, but I did not agree. Because reasoning is a linguistic thing. He gave me many linguistic arguments. This is what. So he tried to give different reasons, but I did not agree with that. But cause means something physical is caused by that. Something physical is causing something physical, or something in nature is causing something, or ontologically something causing something. Yes, ontologically. In the real world, not just in linguistic terms, but in the real world. Real means in reality. Okay, I think we had a good session. How can we verify the cause even if we find it? How can we verify the cause? Yes, very good question. So in this chapter and the previous chapter, we studied epistemology. Epistemology is basically this, finding out the cause and verifying it, either by direct perception or with logic, with reasoning. So reasoning is one part, one limb of epistemology, one kind of epistemology. So either by direct perception, or by reasoning, by logical reasoning, or by divine revelation. Divine revelation is of two kinds. One is through Guru Sadhu Shastra, and one is when I am directly having the divine experience of Krishna, which means I am directly experiencing Krishna. So these four things verify the cause. Okay, I think we can stop here. Thank you very much. If you have more questions, post on Piazza or ask tomorrow. Hare Krishna.